be showing you how to make these super in-style circle skirts or skater skirts. They go by a bunch of different names.
Piccata.
Yeah, they're actually really easy to make. So
we were really excited about it because we personally wanted to make them, and we didn't want to buy the American Apparel ones. Like, I was this close to buying it, and I was like, no, I can't. I know I can make that. It's so much easier.
I say that every time, but it's true.
It's true. Yeah. So to make this skirt, you're gonna need some fabric, and we use some brown craft paper to kind of make a pattern. If you have the real kind of fabric making pattern paper, then go for that, but we didn't, so.
And we recommend that you make our pattern first before you go out and buy your fabric, just so you have a better sense of how much fabric you're going to need.
Yeah. So to make the pattern part first, you're going to take your biggest part of your body measurement, like your bum.
Because the inside of the skirt will have to fit over that, so obviously it needs to be big enough.
Yeah. And then you're also going to take the measurement from where you'd like it to sit to however long you'd like it to be.
So to make the actual paper pattern, you're going to take the large sheets of brown paper and lay them out into a kind of big square size. And if it's not a square, you can fold it in half to make it a square. So once you have your square, you're going to fold that on an angle again, so we're kind of making a pizza shape.
After we have that all folded up, we're going to have to do some math, unfortunately. So you're going to take your widest portion of your body, aka your butt measurement, and you're going to -1 just because we're going to have to take some off for the waistband. Don't really worry about it. Take your measurement. For us, it was 37 minus 1 inch, which equals 36. We're going to divide that by 6.28, which is kind of like double pi, helps us make our circle. So the number we got was 5.73. We rounded it to 5.75, which was 5 3/4. And you're going to put your measuring tape on the bottom corner of your paper pattern, and you're going to just kind of draw out 5 3/4 inches, or whatever your number is, all the way around, so you kind of get this circular line.
Okay, from here we're going to do the same thing, but this is going to be for length. So measure out how long you want your skirt to be. We chose around 16 inches, totally up to you. Do that same thing with the measuring tape. Go from the new line you just drew and go 16 inches down and make your dashed curved line. And make sure that you add an extra inch, because if you want to add a hem, you're going to need that extra inch to fold under. So once you have those two lines drawn, you can go ahead and cut out around both curved lines. And then when you open up your paper pattern, you should have a giant circle, which will turn into your circle skirt
eventually. And you can see from all the excess how much fabric you would have wasted if you did this from the start. So you can do it right. You can do this whole thing right onto your fabric, but we just think that it's a little bit of waste of fabric, and there's a lot more efficient way that you could do it.
Okay, so once you have your giant paper donut, this part's completely up to you based on how much fabric you have. We weren't super smart and didn't give ourselves enough fabric as we wanted to. So from here on, you can cut up your donut to kind of fit better onto your fabric. So for most of ours, we just cut it straight in half, so we had two kind of C shapes. And you can place those patterns onto your fabric and pin them out and cut out the shapes.
Yeah. And then for some fabrics where we had more of a rectangle shape and not a square shape, we kind of cut it into quarters.
And as another option, if you have fabric that you want to be less gathered because it's stiffer,
like
such
leather,
as fake leather or maybe denim, you could go ahead and only use 3/4 of your donut cut into quarters.
Yeah.
And then you would just sew the 3 edges together, and it makes a skirt that's less gathered.
Yeah, you just may have to cut out a little bit more room for your butt to fit through, but
options. So back to the half donut skirt.
So once you've pinned it onto your fabric of choice and cut out your pieces, depending on how many pieces you cut up, you're just going to put the good sides together, pin up the sides, and sew it up. And of course, if you just cut it out as one big hole, you don't even need to do this step.
You're totally fine.
Yeah. So once you have this, you can lay out your big donut that is all sewed up, and you can cut off any excess from the seams. And now we're going to make the waistband. So you need to find your elastic that you want to use in the waistband. You can choose one that's 2 inches, you can choose one that's really small, but we chose this 1 inch one. For our waistband, you're folding it over at least the elastic size, and also a little bit of extra just for like seam allowance, cushion room. So our 1 inch elastic, we folded over our waistband 1 1/4 inch, and we just went around and pinned the entire thing. And you're going to sew along this line, but you're going to leave about a 2 inch, 3 inch gap just so you can kind of feed in the elastic when you need to.
Yes. So once you have that completely sewn and you have your 2 inch gap, you can then feed your elastic through. We found it a lot easier to tape the elastic to a pen. and feed it through that way, like a giant needle essentially. It's really helpful that way.
Yeah.
So once you have it through, you can pull it out the other side, and making sure you might try it on, make sure that it's the right tightness. You can just sew up the elastic.
Pin it first and then try it on, and you can adjust the pin overlappingness to make sure that the elastic isn't too tight or too loose. And then the way we sewed it, we just, with our overlapping elastic, we sewed 2 lines just for security, make sure it didn't come undone.
And if you want to, you could sew up now that 2-inch gap where you put the elastic through, because we're done with that.
Yes. And the very last step is optional, depending on how much your fabric frays or not. You're going to just hem the very bottom. So you can fold over anywhere from 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch, as much as you think you need to sew.
With our velvet, we found that it frayed a lot more, and then with the fake leather, it didn't fray at all. So it's a lot easier to just not have to do that extra step.
Yeah. And then when you're all done, they're going to look beautiful and stylish.
Yes. Really hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial. We hope that you found it as easy as we found it. It was really easy, and the best part is you can keep the pattern and make as many skirts as you want in the future, because you'll just have that with you forever.
Yes. Make sure you guys check out our lookbook on how to style these circle skirts. We actually made 4 different versions in 4 different fabrics, so make sure you check those out to see how you can style them, or you can give you some ideas of what kind of fabrics you'd like to use for your circle skirt.
For sure. We hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you made any of these circle skirts, send us pictures on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, all which will be linked below.
Yes. And we will see you next week.
Bye guys.
Bye.